Let's back up because I think some people may be listening going, marathon, these guys, they lost me. They are way out at sea. Okay, let's go back to that guy who's taking the first step, right? Or that's that woman taking the first step. They've now put on their running shoes. They are now starting. Of course, the hardest thing as well, one of the hardest things I should say, well, I think the hard thing is starting, but then the really hard thing is to continue going, right? Now, one of the biggest misnomers or things that people get wrong about folks who take fitness seriously is that every day you're just motivated to go, and you're just like, let's go, and you just have this gene of motivation that they don't have. The reality, from my experience playing competitive sport, but also now just running and doing bits and bobs, is I think I've actually had more days where I'm not motivated than I think motivated. And so I would love to hear from you, from your experience, how do you get past those days where you're just like, allow it, I'm not finna do 10K today. I don't have 15K in me. Even 5K, you're like how do you get past those days? Because that guy that started is going to have to do that.
Oh, 100%. And it happens all the time, like you said. It happens to me a lot, and you always have to home in on your why. You know, why have you set this goal to achieve? And also, once you figure that out, how are you going to achieve that? So when you hit a rocky part of your journey, it's like, how do I overcome that section? So for example, I ran Tokyo Marathon and I got injured.
That's so cool.
It was really cool.
What a flex. You can't just say that and just like roll on like, oh, Tokyo. You know?
It was cool. We'll come
so
back
cool.
to that. And I was injured, but I knew I had to get ready for another race. But I didn't see a way around it. So I was moped around. I had a few weeks off and just to try and figure things out. But I was like, Andre, if you want to get to this end goal, you can't be sitting at home. You can't be doing nothing. By all means, take the intensity down, but you need to be going to the gym. You need to be doing your exercises day in, day out. Because if you get to the end of your journey and you're still hurt, you've got yourself to blame because you didn't do your ABCs in between. And for someone like a beginner, you're going to have the ups and downs, but you have to trust the process. You have to trust yourself. You have to believe in the people around you if you're working with anyone, and you have to remember your why. You have to keep reminding yourself why you're doing this, who you're doing it for, and what you're going to learn from it. You know, if you have a goal and there's nothing that you want to learn from it, then it's hard to keep going when things get tough. You know, you might want to just complete a race, but also who are you trying to inspire? You know, why are you going to go and run 26 miles? You know, and it's just constantly reminding yourself. But again, also remind yourself that you're human. It's okay to have these down days, but you have to have some sort of leverage to get you out of this rut when you do go in it. So of course, in your running journey, you might get injured or pick up little issues or get ill. But it's like, right, I've had these few days off. I need to get back on the train and keep moving. And I ultimately say just surround yourself around a community or around people that can keep you accountable. You know, that's something I've definitely had in my journey. You know, you've got coaches, friends, family that know how much work you put in.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially when times get tough, they're not like, Andre, don't be lazy, come on, keep going. They're like, no, all right, take the time you need, but don't take too long because you know you've got to get back on the train. And yeah, they help so much. So the community aspect of just keeping moving. And I think that's why running is becoming so popular. So people can lean on each other through these tough times because, as you know, people suffer with mental health. And you're not always going to be on your A game as humans. You know, you're going to have down times. You may have a bad week at work and you just need to either vent or have a space to figure things out. And it's just having people around you to keep you accountable and keep you on that journey. Yeah. And in a healthy place.
Yeah, I think it's so good that you mentioned community because that it is that is sort of the black bullet, the silver bullet, whatever the bullet is, whatever color the bullet is. Because I mean, we always talk about this, but I think sometimes it's lost on people because it's said often. Is, you know, if you've got a strong why for something, what you want to do as aggressively as you can is build a system, and so. People oftentimes, I think, are shocked by loss of motivation. They're like, why don't I feel like going, I'm awake, but I don't want to run, what's going on? And rather than being shocked by motivation loss, you ought to expect it and plan for it. So essentially, have a system for when I've lost motivation, like, what do I do about this? Like, what's the system I have in place? So, for instance, if it's a community, so I'll give you one example. The running club we just started, it's relatively new. There's only a few people. This Monday morning, I woke up at 5 as normal. I went to a restaurant the day before. I do not know what I put in my mouth, because that morning when I woke up, my belly was doing somersaults, and I was just like, I can't run today. That's what I was actually thinking. Now, I was awake, but I just now slowly I started feeling a bit better. But at that stage, it's now like 5:15, 5:20. I'm just thinking I can't be bothered. Now the real reasons I can't be bothered. I messaged the guys. I was like, guys, sorry I can't come like today. You guys carry on, but I'm very tired. To my surprise, one of them said, how long do you think you're going to be? I was like, probably 30, 40 minutes. By the time I'm ready, it'll be too late. They said, we'll wait for you. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Packed my bags, got my clothes on. I was there. We still had a run. But I was so happy about that, because I thought, that's what having a system for loss of motivation looks like.
100%.
They were going to wait. They were going to call. They weren't going to be like, oh, it's fine. It's going to be like, let's go. Look, can we get you hit? Can I come and pick you up? That sort of thing.
Exactly.
So I think if people can devise in their own life what that system looks like, then they've got something to keep them going even when they lose motivation.
Exactly. And leading to your point, there's so many reasons as to why we shouldn't get up and go for the run.
Oh, yeah.
But you should also think of the reasons why you should. Because in your instance, you've got a community waiting for you that are ready to support you. We might have personal fitness goals to reach, These are the reasons for your mental health. Let's have a good start to the week. There's so many reasons as to why you should get up and go, and you've just got to push them out and push the negative ones just away, And that's really good that the community got behind you, man. That's
it
great.
wasn't even a lot of people. It was just a few guys, but that's
what makes it matters. Sometimes when there's too many people, there's too much noise. But if there's a core 5 or 6 people, they're focused on you and you only, which is great, because when you have your bad days, there's 5 or 6 people are going to be there for you, and vice versa. Sometimes when communities get too big, the values and the beliefs sometimes start to trail out a little bit. But, the smaller you are, strength in numbers, that's what they say. But the less people there are, the more noise is shut out.
Yeah. I mean, this is brilliant. I hope someone listening is like, yes, this is what I need, because everything you're saying it's just how you achieve, right? You've got to have a community. You've got to come up with a strong why. Whether it's in the winter you're listening to this, or you just happen to stumble upon this video or this podcast, these are things you can immediately put into action that will ensure whatever fitness goal you have, you achieve them. Because again, whether you're trying to run sub 10 seconds in for 100 meters, or you're trying to just start swimming again, you're gonna have to start, and you're gonna have to keep going.
Yeah.
Right. And then as you keep going, you're gonna have to get good, which is the second. This is the third part, which is now you need to think about stuff like the kind of shoes you're wearing, or your diet, and exactly what you're eating. What does fueling look like? What does rest look like, etc. So on that, because you're not just like jogging on a Saturday, hoping for the like, you're competing. How's that going? How's your competing going?
That's a great question. So I've actually come away from competitive running for a number of years. So I used to actually compete on the track. And
what did you used to run?
So I used to run 800 and 1500 meters.
Okay.
So mid-distance.
Yeah.
But since sort of stumbling across brands and working with communities over the last 10 years, that is my calling. And I still like to compete. I still like to run fast. But again, with that comes injury. So last year I had 2 stress fractures.
Ooh.
I tried to run 2 marathons in 2 weeks, but that was a learning. And essentially, it was just, I gave myself this big goal, and this was my why initially. I wanted to complete my first marathon before I was 30, and I wanted to do it in under 3 hours. And the second one was to complete all the world majors before I turned 30, which gave me 2 years to complete it in.
That's so wild.
I only managed to achieve one.
Okay.
But the second one I was really working towards, came up a little bit short, but I'm still working towards it. And
what majors left?
Boston.
Okay. And have you got the time?
I did have the time, so I've got to requalify.
You have to requalify?
Yeah.
They don't. Oh, That makes
So
sense.
it expires every
Within
2
the
years.
2
But
years, yes.
but yeah, but that's giving me an
Boston's
extra why.
fun, from what I've heard.
So yeah, Boston is fun, and that is like the mecca of marathon running.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, instead of me running fast, well, of course I got to run fast to get into that major, but I want to do it on my own terms. I want to still inspire people and show people that you can still have fun and run fast. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like, it's okay. It's all about the communities I'm building and the stories I'm telling along the way. So even though I've been able to travel to these amazing countries and run marathons and share stories, my own personal journey is wanting to complete Boston, but I have to have a big enough why once I get there, or to even get me to run there, because the time for myself isn't enough. Because yeah, some people aspire to run fast marathons, but for me, running fast isn't going to be relevant to my community, in all honesty. Because, you know, if you're fast, you only appeal to the people that want to aspire to be fast, not the people that just want to start. And I just want to show people that my journey now to work towards Boston is going to be the exact same as someone picking up a new pair of trainers and starting to run.
Got you.
You know, we're on the same journey now to get from A to B. So, yeah, that's my big journey now in terms of competitive running. And
So are you going to like vlog it and document it? Because sometimes I'm like, I know it's long, but someone like you, I just wish you were in like, I don't know if you are on YouTube or you're not, but like, just like, I would love to watch like a day in the life, a week in the life, you know, you kind of summarizing how things are going, just like, almost like a video diary. Have you ever thought about doing something like that?
I have.
Okay.
I have, but it's quite difficult. When I'm in my training bag,
You're
I'm
not
like,
thinking of cameras.
I'm
or
tunnel
whatever.
vision. I do not want a camera in my face. But I understand, because people have said, Andre, why don't you vlog? Why don't you share this story? And I'm just like, I'm just so hell bent on getting this session.
I'm
done.
actually a fraud, because people be asking me all the time, and I don't do the same. Like I don't do it. I'm like, Mike, you do a vlog, and I'm just like, so, I don't have to it.
But it might happen. You never know. Like, if you got a team around you, then you haven't got to worry about all the other little nitty gritty bits and worried about how you look and how you sound and stuff like that.
I don't know how people. There's a tennis guy I watch on YouTube who, I mean, I think he's trying to win like his first ATP point, but he's also vlogging every week, and just haven't done a vlog before. I don't know how on earth he does it, because it is a lot to be filming yourself. I mean, in running, in the case of running, either you're holding the camera up whilst you're running, which is crazy, or you're putting the camera down to run and then pick it back up. It's just like it's just
too much, right?
Too much. Yeah, it's